I want to share 3 things that have helped me courageously make changes in ways that feel good to me, that feel aligned to me. From quitting my job 7 years ago, to starting my business, to migrating to another country when I had only lived in a 2-hour radius pretty much my whole 35 years of life. Hey y'all, welcome to my channel, Reimagining Nadia. I am so glad that you are here. And I'm honored to share space with you even through YouTube airwaves. If y'all don't know me, I am Nadia De Allah. I am a creative. I'm a leadership and negotiation coach. My business is called Real You Leadership, and I'm a facilitator, speaker, and poet. And today I wanted to talk about the big celebration and life update and milestone that today marks my 7-year anniversary since I quit my last 9 to 5 and left my 6-figure job in tech in order to find fulfillment and reconnect to my most real and authentic self. And every year I look back and think, wow, where has the time gone? How have I made it this far? How am I still here? Because business is not for the faint of heart. It is full of stress, struggle, scarcity, and you absolutely need to have this huge ability to be resilient, build hope, to trust yourself, to regulate your nervous system along the way. So I know that every year, for as amazing as this privilege to have my own business, especially a remote business the past 7 years, I know that I fought to be here. I know that it wasn't always easy, and it was full of so much joy, so much purpose, so much values alignment, and has always been worth it to do. I like to check in with myself every year, one, to pat myself on the back and celebrate, because y'all, after everything we've been through these past 4 or 5 years, surviving a pandemic, witnessing war, multiple genocides, the worst of capitalism, leaving the grind and the hustle in the Bay Area, in tech, Silicon Valley specifically. It's a lot to process. I don't think many of us take enough time to ground, to be present, and to really reflect in what we've done in the past year, what we've done in the past 6 months, what we've done in the past month, what we've done in the past week, in the day. And I do my best to be present with that. So I'm going to take you on that journey today and just one, pat myself on the back and celebrate me and everyone in my Real You leadership community, past team members, past clients, past corporate partners, and folks like you who may have followed me on YouTube from any of my Real You leadership channels or in my life. Thank you, thank you, thank you. To honor me is to honor all of you. And I don't take this journey for granted. Part of why I really feel desire to reflect in this forum, YouTube, is one, I'm playing, I'm experimenting, I'm nervous. We sweaty here because it's hot in Oaxaca, but because I'm also nervous talking in this form. I can run my mouth off and I'm already thinking, did that sound right? Did that sound weird? But we gonna let it go, y'all. We gonna let it go. I want to share some of the lessons that really resonated with me, that I hold dear to me, that guide me, and hopefully they guide some of you. So lesson number 1 is to know the real you. Know your real authentic self. Know your real dreams, not your parents' dreams, not what society's telling you your dreams should be, but know what your real dreams are, what you want, who you are, what you desire, what gives you pleasure, what delights you, what makes you smile and laugh, what makes you satisfied at the end of the day before you go to bed. You know, when I first started this journey, I felt immense pressure to stay in my 9 to 5. I felt immense pressure to not stay in this business throughout all the years. Sometimes I still feel that today, and I always have to set that aside. And I think that stems from this immense pressure so many of us feel to conform to societal expectations, to conform to the capitalistic grind and systemic oppression and inequities that force us into a box, that force us to feel like we've got to go with this robotic flow that stifles our creativity, that stifles our humanity, that strips us of our ability to dream bigger for ourselves. When I was in tech, I really lost sight of what I value in my activism, in social justice, and social impact work. I found myself in so many situations where I was the only woman, the only person of color, the only woman of color, the only Filipina, the only API person. And along the way, I lost my voice, lost my will to strive for more. I lost my motivation to speak up. And it took me a really long time to connect with that, even before I exited out of the corporate world. And once I was able to advocate for myself, once I was able to rise up, once I was able to close part of my pay gap, to get promotions, to get recognized, I still didn't feel fulfilled. I still woke up every single day thinking, what the fuck am I doing here? I still woke up every single day thinking, if I die tomorrow selling this software as a service, for as productive and as great as it is, I will not be happy with my life. If I die tomorrow doing this, and I still ask myself this question all the time. If I die without doing this one thing that I have been yearning for, or if I die doing this one thing that makes my soul sad and depleted every single day and never leave, what am I even here for? And I think it's really special because June 16th this year is falling on Father's Day. And I think why I get so dramatic with these life or death questions is because I lost my father in 2003 when I had just turned 15 and he was just 49. That's 14 years away from where I am right now. And I think about how much life has passed without him, how much I have seen, how much I have learned, how much I had grown, and all the life that he didn't get to have. So it may sound really dramatic, but I really, really believe in asking yourself these big questions. If I die tomorrow, because anything can really happen, will I be satisfied? I can answer yes today, even with so many dreams that I have still, even with so many goals that I have, because especially after finally making this leap to Oaxaca, Mexico, and migrating to my partner's homeland, I feel like I am still pursuing a life that is quote unquote successful by my definition, which means I have enough financial resources. And I'm very financially privileged here, making USD remotely. And I am not rich by any means, yet I know what is enough for me, and I have that. And when I have overflow, I can pour into others, I can pour into community, I can pour into movements and liberation movements that I care about. And that is enough for me. By success and achieving, reimagining what that looked like for me was having space and time to do more creative work like this YouTube channel, Reimagining Nadia. And I found that I have already been able to watercolor more. I just did an indigo dyeing class the other day, and it was so amazing. I am taking Spanish classes regularly here. And to be successful is also to have space and time for my loved ones, for community. But I know I only got here because I embraced and found and understood and trusted and uplifted my real authentic self. that means I trust my voice. I'm not afraid to use my voice. I take up space and I tell people what I want, and I set boundaries for what I don't want or I don't need or what isn't aligned. That means that I am proud of my heritage as a Filipino woman and a daughter of immigrants who was born in the US and part of the Filipino diaspora. And I am not ashamed of that, that I know I have so many superpowers because of my heritage and where my roots and my ancestry come from. That means I honor my ancestors wherever I go, especially when I want to change, especially when I'm scared, especially when I want to take risks. And know that being genuine and true to you is really what will attract the people that you need in your life to go towards the things that you want to go towards, the community that will support you and uplift you. And it's okay if some folks might not be fully aligned with that, who are typically a part of your life and your support system. We learn to be okay with what is not aligned so long as we're not fitting ourselves into someone else's mold anymore. This is what I find is more sustainable than faking it till you make it. The past 7 years has been a journey that I wouldn't trade for the world. It has been a journey of growth, of love, of knowing myself, of knowing who I am, and knowing exactly the kind of person and leader I want to be in every space that I occupy. In my partnership, my marriage, in my family, in my friendships, in my communities, in my activism, in my creative expression, like poetry, art, content creation, in my ability to just be a human being that is trying to do good and reduce as much harm as possible because there's so much harm in this world. Because I am here in Oaxaca now after migrating and taking this big leap, I am reminded of all the leaps I had to take to get here, all the leaps of faith, all the pushing through fear, insecurity around taking things that felt like a big quote unquote risk. I thank all the versions of me that got me here. And I hope that this inspires anybody who's watching this to realize every version of you mattered. Lesson number 2, I believe I actually said it before, is to take risks, to take that leap, to do the damn thing. Like I said, leaving my 9 to 5 was a huge risk. The day I was about to quit my tech job in San Francisco, my mom called and told me, anak, which means my child in Tagalog, don't do it. Don't do it. Don't quit your job. It is so expensive in San Francisco. I just saw the news article that San Francisco's rent is at an all-time high, that da 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 da. And I was shaking in my boots. I'll never forget that core memory of how much anxiety activated when she told me that. And I hung up on her and said, that's not news, mom. Goodbye. Like, and I did it anyway. Now I had a lot of privilege because I saved a whole year of funds with my partner because we planned to take this sabbatical. And the risk was leaving a job without having another one lined up. A lot of people, even VP and executives in my company, questioned that. How could you leave a job without another job? My mom questions how I could leave the US because of the illusion of the American dream that she immigrated to the US for in the 70s from the Philippines when she was living under martial law. Of course, she's going to question how I could leave something so good. And yet, I knew both times migrating here, leaving my 9 to 5, I just knew that I had to make it happen. I just knew that this is what was next. When I left my 9 to 5, I just knew that I didn't know myself enough to know what to do next, how to change industries yet again, how to change careers, how to change roles. And every single time I looked up another job description or tried to update my resume, I physically got sick. And so the only option for me was to take this risk, to create space, to see what could be filled in this space. I have coached so many people on sabbaticals as well, whether they got laid off and had to go on a sabbatical because it was forced, because they were burnt out, went on mental health leave, went on disability leave, because they had to take care of family. Whatever the reason is, I think it is so important to create space, no matter how big of a risk it feels, to know who you are outside of your 9 to 5, outside of your hustle, outside of whatever grind you're dedicated to. I think it's really important to know who you are outside of work. And I know that comes with a lot of privilege to say that. And I know that can feel like a big risk. And if you are able to take a leap or to take a sabbatical or to take a break at any point or an extended time off to really get to know who you are, I think that's so important. But on the topic of risk, risk is essential to growth. There is no growth without change. There is no growth without an exchange or a giving away or surrendering or releasing of something. It doesn't necessarily mean you are losing something, right? I think about how scary it is for us to shed and for us to unlearn and let go of things that do not serve us. But I look at the trees outside and I think, wow, they're not scared to lose their leaves. It comes through, it comes back on its own time. They just keep growing. They just keep going through the seasons and the cycles of change and growth and evolution. I know how hard it is to go beyond your growth edges and leave your comfort zone. After 7 years of taking risks as an entrepreneur, after migrating to another country and leaving my entire comfort zone and all of my rich community and uprooting myself to somewhere so far away, I can comfortably say that it is always worth it. It is always worth it to go on the other side. And although we can't control the future, risk is really scary. Risk feels impossible to make sometimes. If you can get yourself beyond that and go to the other side, there's always something so beautiful and so worth it. There's no such thing as perfection. There's no perfect outcome. We have to stay open to new possibilities when we move beyond our comfort zones for the sake of growth, for the sake of launching our new project or a new business, or going after our dreams, or finding our dream friendships and connections and relationships. Risk can be a beautiful way to evolve and to grow and to expand. And I wouldn't be here feeling so good in my new home, in my new space, in my new season if it weren't for me taking the leap and taking some risk. The way that I look at it is yes, and yes, it's a risk, and it's part of me investing in myself and my ability to go after this big dream or vision that I have. And that is worth it. I am worth it. It is worth investing in myself or betting in myself, and I'm going to shoot my shot. And that requires so much trust in you. So do whatever you can to cultivate the hope and the trust you need in yourself to know that you got your back. So, on that, in this 7th year of business and being an entrepreneur and doing my own damn thing, the last lesson is to do it scared. Do it scared, do it scared, do it scared. Every major decision in your life, every choice that has the ability to change the trajectory of your entire life, every leap that you take, every risk that you take, every time you speak up in a room that doesn't look like you, every time you take up space in a new environment, every time you start a new job, a new gig, whatever it is, always comes with its own set of fears, its own set of anxieties. And I just want to affirm you that you don't have to wait to be fearless, that you don't have to wait to feel 100% confident, that you don't have to wait to know every single step to do things perfectly. Again, that doesn't exist. I encourage you and affirm you and give you permission to do it scared. What that's going to require of you is to do it while upping your self love game, while increasing your self care and self regulation game to regulate your nervous system when it goes off the hook the second you step out of your comfort zone. What it's going to require from you is to surrender control, to know that you are going to do the best you can. You are going to do it even if you're scared that the outcome you want might not happen. It's worth seeing what's possible. What it requires of you to do it scared is to say, I don't need to do this alone. Society, capitalism, all these systems of oppression and inequities that we operate under will always feed us this lie that we have to do things alone, that if we want our biggest dreams, it's got to be this hero's journey, this solo journey. And that's not true. Ask for help when you do things scared. Ask for people to hype you up. Ask for people to uplift you. Ask for people to amplify your message, your impact. Ask for the support that you need to get from where you are to where you want to be. And I promise you that even if you're scared, it feels so good to know that you didn't have to do it alone. It's okay to feel fear. Fear is a natural response telling us that this is worth it, and also telling us that our brains are working just fine, trying to protect us, trying to defend us. And what you need to learn is to build self awareness to recognize when that fear response or that defense response that might be limiting you or contracting you and keeping you stagnant from moving forward on what you really want is activated in you, and how to release that activation and move forward in the aligned ways that drive you forward, that move you forward and build that momentum you want to see towards your goals and what you really want to do. It's so important to remember that courage does not equal the absence of fear. And when I say move forward and do it scared, it's not like you have to build everything overnight. You have to summit the mountain the very next day. Think about what's 1% more. 1% more I can do today. The next day, what's another 1% more I can be who I want to be, do what I want to do, take a step towards what I want to build today. One day you will see that these incremental steps, these incremental shifts and changes and actions really do add up to the transformation that you want to see in your life and in this world. So instead of saying, how can I stop being scared? I hope that you start asking yourself, how can I do it anyway? And how can I do it scared? That's it. These are our 3 lessons, and there's just so much more I could say to you. As I said, I can run my mouth and keep on going. And I am celebrating being here in my work with my business baby, Real You Leadership, as a leadership and negotiation coach for BIPOC women and femmes the past 7 years. And whether you've been riding with me and vibing with me since the beginning, or you're new to my space in Reimagining Nadia, my YouTube channel, I am just so happy to share this milestone, this celebration, this season with you. And I'm so glad you are here joining me. If you're considering taking a big leap or taking a risk or starting the entrepreneurial business ownership journey, power to you. I am celebrating you regardless of where you're at in this journey. And I hope you remember or are able to utilize and integrate these 3 lessons to be your real, authentic self and embrace those parts of you that make you uniquely you, to take risks, take that leap, and to do it scared.